this is DemonDriver, and we are going to stick our elevators on our L-1011s. This is the smaller L-1011-500 series, and this is the L-1011 standard, the longer version, and we are going to add our elevators to the rear section, elevator stabilizer to the rear section of the fuselage, and I'm going to show you how that's done. We're going to do that, I'm going to do it on video. On the A300 build, I didn't do that, and I haven't gotten there yet with the MD-80. The MD-80 stabilizer, much like the DC-9 or any T-tail, is a single slab. If your stabilizer has no dihedral, you can use a single slab elevator, a one-piece elevator, but if your elevator has dihedral, sometimes it's a little bit awkward to stick a one-piece, you have to have it, give it dihedral. Sometimes that can be a bit difficult to make it in one piece. It can actually be heavy. So what I do is I put carbon fiber rods into the elevator, and I have two-piece elevators. So I do that with airliners like the L-1011, the A300, the 767, where the elevator, or the 707, where the elevator meets the fuselage rather than a T-tail elevator or a semi-T-tail elevator like the Caravelle, where it doesn't meet the fuselage, it's actually in the rudder tail, or up in a boom like the 111, the MD-80, the DC-9, and other aircraft like the 727. So in this video, we're going to go through the procedure of adding elevators to our L-1011s because I want to get these planes done and finished and in the air. So, alright guys, here we go, and I appreciate your company and I appreciate your time. Let's add the elevators. Let's get down to business. Okay, DemonDriver here, and we're going to jump to an important part of any addition of an elevator, and I wanted to do this in front of you. I already did this on the big planes, but I'm going to do it for you right in front of you. Now, a lot of people look at the L-1011, and just from the naked eye, you would think that there's no dihedral in the elevator. A lot of people make that mistake. There is dihedral in the L-1011's elevator, positive dihedral, meaning dihedral where the wingtips go up rather than horizontal dihedral where, like on the TU-104, there's none. Let me try and give you an example of what I mean. You got your DC-9, which has no dihedral. You got your TU-104, no dihedral. But planes like the DC-10 and the L-1011 have some dihedral. The L-1011 has way less than the DC-10. So what you do is you try and find plans that are as accurate as you can. And the way you determine accurate plans are, A, you get them from the manufacturer, which is very rare. And usually have to use the Freedom of Information Act, go into microfilm and things like that, and you get into whole copyright issues because these are documents that are owned by corporations, Lockheed Martin or Boeing or Airbus, so you have to watch out what you do. You got to be careful. So what we do is we get our plans here, L-1011, head-on view, and well, it'd be nice if I had a pen. That would be useful. Okay, got a pen. Here we go. Take a ruler, and usually the top or bottom leading edge is not always going to give you an accurate idea of your dihedral, but try and ride or straddle the middle or middle of the leading edge of the elevator. And try it the best you can. And in this case, I might use this magnifying glass just to get really up close and personal. And let's say right about there is what I want. Okay, get that out of the way. And we draw our line. That is the dihedral line right there. Okay. Then we come in and this is an important tool that I like to use because this will give you your angle. This will give you your amount of degree of dihedral. And it's basically, you know, it's like I call it just an angle finder. And you match up this with the line that you just drew, and we see how many points off zero we have to go in order to, actually, I got this backwards, sorry. Hang on here. So there we are. Like that. Right at the, put the hole right at the point where your line for your elevator meets your fuselage. Line that up the best you can, and then move this right here, and I would say we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 degrees, 5 to 6 degrees maybe, 7 degrees of positive dihedral on the L-1011 stabilizer. So there you are. So we're going to transfer this over to the actual plane, and I'm going to show you how to do that. It's a little bit complicated, but I'm going to show you that it's really not that difficult. Okay, so let's transfer over to the planes. Let's move the 500 out of the way because we're going to start on the L-1011 ANA first. Okay. Okay, like I was saying, let's move the L-1011-500 up and out of the way because we're going to, it's much easier to work on one plane at a time rather than having 2 or 3 or multiple airplanes, you know, in your way. So let's move the 500. Let's get the 500 out of here. Anytime you move a plane around, it's, you know, almost 7 feet long. You always want to just do things very, very gently, and you have to be real careful. There we go. Right up on the rack. Okay. Alright, let's get down to the L-1011 ANA. L-1011 here. Alright. First thing you need to do, now the first thing I need to do for you is I need to get you up a little bit higher so you can get in on the action here. Oh, let me find something to prop you guys up with here so you can get a little bit better view of what I'm about to start doing here. It's imperative that you see everything. I want you to see this stuff because if you can't see it, what's the point? Okay. What's currently underneath the L-1011 is some what I call trace plans. These are tracing plans that what I've done is I've gone over the original L-1011 plans and I just traced out some plans to get a general idea of where the stabilizer is located. Now on the L-1011, the stabilizer is right at the point where the lower end of the fuselage, you know, the bottom line of the low end of the fuselage, that's where the stabilizer, you know, that's where it's going to be positioned. And then of course here I have the top-down view of the plan, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to attack everything with speed squares. Speed squares are going to be placed there and there, and they're going to line everything up. I'm going to position the L-1011 tail over the plans, and then we're going to start to determine where to put the stabilizer. Alright, now I know that the stabilizer stops right at the back end of the fuselage where the number 2 engine starts. So right there is going to be where the number 2 EDF is going to be. Right back in there. So that's where the elevator stabilizer is going to stop. So we have to determine these things, and we're going to mark off on the plane and on the 500 where these things are going to be, where the elevator is going to start, where it stops, make our marks, and then start to, we'll roll the plane over, we're going to stick the elevators in and mock everything up and get the marks to where the carbon fiber, is going to, where the carbon fiber is going to need to be cut, or where the fuselage will need to be cut in order to allow the carbon fiber rods through. So that's what we're going to do now, and these speed squares are going to be utilized. So here we go.